came across something recently that completely changed how I see and use pocket notebooks. I'm somebody who has been writing for over 15 years, and I prefer the larger notebooks for my journaling just because there's more space. But pocket notebooks, the only time I could think that I used these consistently was in my competitive weightlifting years, where I would write my training rep by rep inside these notebooks. But when it came to actually envisioning myself, I wanted to kind of carry a notebook around. I wanted to be able to pull it out and write when I'm traveling. And I would always find that the larger notebook, even though that was kind of my home base for everything, I wanted to return to more often. So I would do my morning pages or write first thing in the day, and I would be like, you know what, this feels so good. I want to come back to this a couple hours from now, or I want to check back in on this tonight. But I would go about my day, and that notebook, no matter where I would place, it would feel clunky. It would feel congested, and like I couldn't keep it open while I was doing other things. And so on and off, I had been experimenting with different styles of pocket notebooks, and I would bring them along only for travel and things like that. But again, they would not really get used until I basically came across this video from Bullet Journal and the founder, who was sharing that his dad was the one who came across this hack that I'm about to show you. And it was a very simple thing, which is typically when you open up a pocket notebook, you would expect to use it like from top to bottom like this, right? But instead, what his dad did was basically rotate the journal so it went from being, this horizontal feel, I guess, to being vertical. And so when you turn it this way, what happens is the width of the notebook is now way closer to the A5 size that I typically like to write on. And so being able to have more space as you write across this way has been an absolute game changer. And it seems like such a simple tweak. Like, how could I not have thought of this before? But it's something that I had to see in action, and then of course test it myself to see if I liked it before I really committed to it. And so I have gone through about 2 of these field note size notebooks at this point. I've noticed that these last me anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So I do go through them much quicker than I would maybe my A5 larger notebook, which lasts like a couple months. I just found that this simple change has made me write in it way more. I actually pull it out. I carry it with me. When I'm maybe out for a walk or something, I do still get captured by the allure of like, oh, I wish I had my notebook and I could write in it. But in those cases, I still, capture in my notes app on my phone just because it's fastest. But because I capture everything in my notes app, the amount of notes that I've been actually entering into my notes app has decreased since I've used the pocket notebook, because I have most of my ideas in this. And so what's cool is at any given point has also gotten me into the habit of going back and reviewing it like it's something I wrote. It's a physical book that I wrote, because it's also not like from 3 months ago like it would be in a larger notebook. In these smaller notebooks, you get to revisit a shorter period of time, 10 days ago, 2 days ago, 5 days ago. What was I thinking? And it also, the encouragement of getting to fill up one of these notebooks gives you kind of this trial period of like, okay, what change can I make in the next 10 to 14 days? And it gives me kind of this measurable, subconscious push to basically don't just have stupid thoughts logged in here, because that's what happened with my first one that I filled up. So much of it was just to-dos and the things that I would be putting in my journal maybe anyways. But over time, as I started to fill up now the second notebook, and then now I'm on to the third, it basically has showed me that my thinking has gotten clearer and clearer. So as I filled up the second notebook and the third notebook, I'm really starting to see this come through, where I'm not just writing those thoughts, those easy thoughts. I'm kind of taking the space and time to think harder about something, a project that I'm working on or something I want to do next week, and being able to take something that is in my working memory, all these things that are floating around in there, and basically put them into this is a way that I've found allows me to think clearer, right? There's just not as much hanging out up here. There's not as many open tabs because I've just put them in a physical place. This satisfaction, I do not feel the same when I put that into digital to-do list app or something like that. Sometimes you get that feeling like, okay, it's there when I want to look at it. But I found that having this physical reminder every time you look at your phone or near your phone and having a pen with it, after you do this for a few days, you'll get hooked on the habit of basically capturing down things that you are thinking. So I was shocked that one change made me use it so much. And the next change that I actually underestimated was that the index. So the index is something that the founder of Bullet Journal, really pushes. And I used to put these in journals and never really use them. But then now I've found that when I want to go, like I might write something really important or do like let's say your quarterly goals or something in a space in this notebook. Well, in the index page in the very front, what you can do is basically write quarterly goals on page 10 to 12 or on page 12. And so it gives you this quick map when you're revisiting your notebooks on what you're looking for and what you want to find. The thing that's really surprising to me about all of this is that I used to hate these soft cover styled field notes notebooks, and now I love them. Like, I'm collecting all the different print versions that there are of this, and I've gone on, this is how you know that I'm really adopting the pocket notebooks, is I'm now using another notebook as only my rituals and routines go in this notebook. So basically a physical version of an SOP document or a processes folder. Everything that is important to me that I am finding myself repeating or doing over and over or encountering again and again, those things are going to go in here. And this is just going to be a physical place where only things like that go. Again, the fact that a notebook is a single purpose tool, it's designed to do one thing, and it gives you a physical space to actually think without the anticipation of, switching tabs or hopping over to something else when you feel that struggle, that tough feeling of thinking about something and not having the answer right away. A notebook allows you to sit with that feeling for just a little longer. And when you do that, those moments of struggle are really the ones where you're growing and where your learning is actually hardening. This is very similar to the reps that burn when you are working out. Those last few reps where you're exerting struggle are where the greatest building is going to come from. It's amazing how one simple change is all it took for me to begin using this stuff consistently. But I will say that I'm not using the larger one as much as I used to. So, I might still do my journaling or morning pages and things like that in there, but I'm not coming back to that throughout the day. This is what I'm coming back to. And oftentimes I found that I enjoy the feeling of what the founder of Bullet Journal calls rapid logging. So the ability to basically dump all this, it might be to-dos, it might be ideas for projects or, parts of something that totally from a couple of days ago, things I don't want to lose, right? And so my ability to capture is definitely better because I used to capture all my stuff as soon as I, recognize that it's something I want to capture, it would go in my Apple Notes. But now having a place that it can go physically and so quickly feels more accessible. Like having my bigger notebook with me was not always ideal for capturing things in the moment. It may be a place where I want to go to work things out, but it won't be the capture mechanism versus this type of pocket notebook. Once you begin using it, you will start relying on it. Now you might be wondering, when you begin to use your notebook rotated that way, how do you number the pages? And it's like this, where you are numbering the very bottom of the page. So this whole entire thing is page 12, not page 12 and page 13. And so I really like going through and kind of pre-numbering them sometimes. And if you do that, I believe it takes you, the whole thing says that it's 48 pages, but it takes you to about page 23. And then the last page, I guess you could consider 24. So about 24 pages or so doing it that way. And for me, I really timestamp every time that I come back to this. So if it's been, like 30 minutes or so since I last wrote in here, I won't timestamp it. But if it's been an hour, I will. So I'll write 5:47 p.m. and then I'll go on to write my bullet or whatever I was going to write. And so that's also another cool thing. You can see what you were thinking at different times of day, what you were working on. And that timestamping feature has oddly been very important to me. I don't know why, but I like being able to go back and see that kind of stuff. Now, you're probably wondering, when you write in this vertical format, what is it like to hold it in your hand like this? And I find that that is not as annoying as I thought it would be, because again, I'm used to harder cover A5 sized journals, and those, there's never an issue with it being sturdy, right? But when you have something that's kind of soft cover like this, I actually like it because it's more durable. It can flip all the way back like this and it's not going to damage it or anything. But for the most part, I put it up against my phone, or I put it on my leg, or if I need more support, like I'm at the beginning of it or at the end of it, I'll just fold it back and, double up like that. And so it is extremely, extremely durable even when you do that, even though it's only held by like 3 staples. It's kind of surprising. But yeah, I really like how in the back there's also a ruler. And these notebooks, I think it's also the story that got me hooked onto these notebooks. And I'll read you, the story in the back. It says, "Field Notes, our story. Inspired by the vanishing subgenre of agricultural memo books, ornate pocket ledgers, and the simple, unassuming beauty of a well-crafted grocery list. The Draplin Design Company, Portland, Oregon, in conjunction with Kudal Partners, Chicago, Illinois, brings you Field Notes in hopes of offering an honest memo worth filling up with good information." And so I really like that this is something that was used by farmers and was something that has that like rugged feel to it, especially when you look at the original Field Notes and like this beige brown craft looking cover. And of course, I'm a fan of the grid format paper inside as well. In a day and age where everything is digital, it is so oddly refreshing to have something analog and physical like this. I think just the feeling of even, touching it and holding it in your hand, you don't have to be a writer of any kind to appreciate this. I think the skill of simply noticing and detecting when something is interesting to you, when something is worth capturing, like to train that skill, that alone is worth having a notebook like this for. But I find that if you do even 2 to 4 weeks of writing in a pocket notebook like this, and maybe that one change will do it for you too. Maybe just rotating it like this will change everything for you as well. I hope it does. Let me know if you've used these and if you enjoy them, or what your preferred notebooks are. You can check out the links to these in the description below. But I appreciate you taking the time to hang out, and I will see you on the next one.